Good evening to the International Organizing Conference. How y'all doing tonight? I'm Natalie Nia Falk, and I'm the co-director of the Seventh Organizer Academy, an organization rooted in leadership development and capacity building initiatives that is meant to increase the systemic change that can happen across the South. Now, if you're anything like me, and I know a few of you are, you're in meetings constantly, right? From hosting meetings to just being part of meetings. It's kind of a daily thing for us. Now, I want to know who in here has been to a bad meeting? Yeah? Yeah. What was that meeting like? Yeah. Now I want you to think about who all of the good meetings you've been to and tell me, or think about what that was like. Yeah. It is my hope that we can share some best practices in how do you create the layout of a container of having a meeting. That's the pre, the during, and the post phase. So we all know in the pre phase, right, you have to figure out what is your facilitation style, what is your learning style, how do you like to teach things and be engaged with things. If you have a co-facilitator, which I suggest you should always have a co-facilitator, you learn the power dynamics, you learn the identity dynamics, and you learn how do you best work as a team, right? And the last thing you want to do is you want to create your pop. Your pop is the purpose, the outcomes, and the process for meeting. So what is the purpose? Why are folks meeting? What are they working towards? What is the big picture goal that has brought us all into this room to meet? Your outcomes are the many different things that will happen because you have met your purpose in the meeting. If the purpose is met, these outcomes will be very clear, right? And your process, aka known as agenda, is how you plan to meet your purpose. And so in a normal process, you'll have check-ins, and check-ins are a good way to kind of ground everyone in the room, see who's in the room. And your check-ins normally include 3 minutes of, this is my name, this is my gender pronoun, and a silly little question, anything like, if I could be a tree, what type of tree would I be? Your check-ins are to great for folks to get to know each other. After your check-ins, then you do a normal grounding. And a grounding is anything that allows people to become more present, whether it's a breathing exercise, a movement exercise, reading a poem together, something that allows people to shed off what they've come in with through the day and be present and grounded in the room, preparing their mindset for thinking. You also want to have, after your grounding, some shared value conversations. How do we act in this room? How are we with each other? How do we hold each other? How do we move? How do we dialogue? What is our consensus process, our decision-making process? Your guided values allow you to show how we operate and move through this process, or this agenda. So you've created your check-ins, people know where they are, you have a good grounding, people have released their stress from the day and are ready and able to be present in the room. You talked about your shared values and agreements for how you want to be in the room. The next thing you want to do is talk about the pop. So what is the share your purpose, the outcomes, and the whole agenda with the folks that you will be in the room with. The next part of the agenda then takes us into the actual meet, right? So we really only want to have one good topic that we can dialogue around. Everything before and after that topic is really just gearing us up to have that conversation of the meet, right? So once you have your meet, you have the dialogue, you come to a conclusion, you made a decision around it. You then want to talk about your next steps. So what are the very next steps that you want to have in order to make sure that this process can be followed up on, is carried out effectively and efficiently, and is done in a way that feels really good methodically? After your next steps, you want to have a close. A close is a way to send folks out into the world feeling hopeful, valued, and able to do the rest of their day, right? It could be anything from a song to like a good chant, anything that will allow folks to remind them that they have done the work and that they are awesome. So you've met with your co-facilitator, you have a good pop. And the next thing to do is divide the tasks within the process, who's going to do what within the agenda, and then you send out your agenda to your people. That's the pre. The pre is about getting to know your co-facilitator and creating your purpose, your outcomes, and your process, aka your agenda. Now, during the meeting, you want to be very, very clear to have people arrive. You want to have food and water for them in case it's a dinner time meeting. And you also want to have the agenda laid out for folks, right? At the top of the meeting, you want to start with check-ins. Then after that, you want to give out roles. So what are the roles? How do we create buy-in for folks, right? Can we have a note taker? Can someone be the timekeeper? Can someone be the emotions monitor? Giving folks buy-in keeps them present in the moment and keeps them there. So that's when you start. You start and you move throughout your agenda or your process, and you allow folks to have plenty of dialogue, come to conclusions and decision making the best ways as possible. And as your meeting closes, you prepare yourself to pick the next week's facilitator if it's a rotating facilitation situation, or you just allow everyone to leave. It's very clear and simple. Plenty of dialogue, open-ended conversations, give roles during the meeting so that folks can feel good, and then you're good, you're out there. Now, at the end of the meeting, this is very sweet and simple. You want to debrief with your co-facilitator or with yourself. What went well? What did I like about how I moved through that space? What didn't I like about how I moved through that space? How can I shift that better? What came from the meetings and the decisions that we make? Then you want to send out the notes and you want to send out the next meeting date. And then after that, you just want to enjoy yourself because you've done a job well done. So there you have it. The pre, the post, the during, all of those things that create the makeup of a meeting. In your pre, you're meeting up with your co-facilitator, you're creating your understanding of how your power dynamics work, and you're also creating your pop, your purpose, your outcomes, and your process. During the meeting, you're sharing your pop with your people and you're giving them roles to buy in and help you move through the agenda. And in the closing, you're debriefing, you're showcasing next steps, and you're enjoying yourself and celebrating the things you've done because you did a great job and you know you did a great job. So as you can see, the meeting planning process can be intense, but it can also be really, really, really good. It can be effective and simple, or it can be something useful and that shifts for everyone, right? We know that one size does not fit all, and so leave what doesn't serve you and take what does serve you and put it into your own formation. And of course, I'm always here for deeper dialogue, and I want you to continue to do the work that you've been doing because the world would not be the same without it. Thank you, and have a good night.